Good morning, Sonder fam. Karen, would you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me in the chat? I'm hoping that you guys okay, good. Karen says you guys can hear me. Perfect. I'm not sure what's going on with my Spotify. I'm gonna try a couple of things while we get going this morning. Hi, I'm Jennifer Ogilvy, and I'm coming to you from Garland, Texas. It's in the Dallas area, and you are here for your weekly setup. It's so good to welcome you to a new week in June. Make sure that you have set your chat to everyone. Oh, you're in Garland too. Hi, Adrian. We're neighbors. Awesome. Make sure you've gotten all your supplies that you need for setup this morning. And I will give you a quick hint. If you are kind of new to setting up, you might want to grab your cell phone and just snap pictures of things that are shared on the screen that might be helpful to you. That sometimes it can move a little fast. We're covering a lot of information today. Also, the chat might move a little fast. So it's nice to kind of go to that phone. When I do setups, I tend to take notes and use Post-its and then go back and sit and really dig into my journal. And I know that lots of you already have your cadence in how you set things up, and you are just here to carve out that time for setting up. So I just want to welcome you, and I'm so glad that you are here today. So let's get going. We are, oh, I forgot to mention Karen, one of our wonderful facilitators from California, is our stage manager today. She is running the chat, and she is going to be able to answer any questions. There she is. She's waving. So good morning, Karen. And if you guys end up having any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and she can do that. Also, thank you for your patience with my music. I'm not sure what's going on, so we may have to do a little swap-a-roo with our slides, but we'll figure that out as we go on and move through this morning. So let's dig in. I am so pumped about spontaneity because I don't feel like I am a very spontaneous person. And Karen, just so you know, your video is still on. Not sure if you realize that. So the spontaneity is something that doesn't at first hit with me. Like, I'm not spontaneous. I really like to plan. I really like to have everything done on paper. And I've been seeing in Sonder Club that I think we're all kind of in that same place. So I'm excited about digging into spontaneity this month. So we will start with a spontaneity activity. And we have some new things to try this month with our weekly setup and our activities. So I'm very excited to introduce that to you. We're going to then dive into our weekly setup. I'm going to give you some ideas. I've got lots of pictures that will maybe give you some inspiration. I've been using Silk and Sonder for over a year, and I still have some parts that I keep tweaking and figuring out how to make it work just right for me. So let's get digging into our spontaneity theme. Find a space in your journal. You might want to use that scratch pad that is along the side of your weekly, or just a place somewhere where you have some empty space. I know our pages are so valuable, and we are going to be digging into spontaneity using what is called a mind map. And so basically for the next month, for this month, each weekly setup is going to have an activity that kind of builds and interfaces with one another. So you'll be seeing this recurring theme from week to week. And this week, we're going to be looking at spontaneity through the lens of our hobbies and our interests, and kind of looking at what our hobbies and interests have to do with spontaneity. So one of the things I want you to think about are the things that you have a passion for. It might be habits. It might be some hobbies or interests. And how do those things support you in spontaneity? For example, my husband and I like to think of ourselves as barbecue snobs. And so we are in constant pursuit of the best barbecue in Texas. And sometimes that could end up making us have a quick turn off of a road while we're on a road trip to go try some barbecue. That's one of the ways that spontaneity plays a good part into hobbies. Think about the things that you're interested in. Maybe you have causes that you are passionate about. Maybe you love to cook and feed people. What does that look like when you're looking at that through the lens of spontaneity? Um, you might be a thrifter or a repurposer. Maybe you refinish furniture. Maybe you breathe life into old things and make them new again. Perhaps you know your coffees or your cocktails. Think of all those things that bring you joy and passion in those hobbies and activities, those extracurriculars that are in your life. So I'm going to attempt to play some music while you guys start digging into this prompt, and then I'll check back in with you in just a few minutes. Okay, I know it's a little early to kind of get these big concepts out there on paper. It feels a little counterproductive to think about spontaneity and then making plans for spontaneity, right? To be thinking about how does that work for somebody who's very well planned, and I kind of was able to wrap my head around that concept by remembering and recalling when I was in the classroom setting. And we were always encouraged to leave a space for teachable moments. So if a child walked in with a bird's nest, that was a teachable moment. And I found that as an educator, the better planned that I was with my classroom and the rhythms and routine of that, the more space I actually had for those teachable moments that came up. So I think spontaneity and being well planned can work together. We just have to kind of be intentional about that. So, as we're digging through this theme this month, I think we'll be able to discover how we can build that those planned moments of spontaneity. And as Karen was saying in the chat, it can be as small as, I watch TV at 7 o'clock at night. I'm going to turn on Netflix and I'm going to let them pick for me tonight. I'm not going to go to my go-to. Just changing things up a little bit, or maybe grabbing a pack of gum that's not on the grocery list, but enjoying blowing some bubbles in the car on the way home because you bought some chewing gum. So they can be very small things that just spark a little extra joy in our life. So be thinking about this as you kind of start journeying through the rest of the month. And thank you for working on noticing the spontaneity in your habits and your interests. So let's dig in to that weekly planner. We've got a new week. We're ready to go. This is the first full week of June. So I don't know about you, but I am ready. So go ahead and open up to page 32. And this is what that page will look like. A couple of examples from our Sonder family. And we're going to take this page in chunks. So let's take a look first at this week I want to feel. And that is that little box that's kind of up there at the top. I've put together some fun a word cloud with some fun words that you might want to use if you're having trouble thinking of exactly the direction you want to go and set that tone for the week. So I'll scroll back and forth between these slides when we get to work on these sections. And then we're going to take a look at our our weekly major 3 goals. So the three things that you want to get done this week. And I've got some helpful hints for this. If you have set up your monthly, then you have your intentions page and your monthly habit tracker filled out. And so you can go look at those, and those can inspire what your 3 biggies are going to be for this week. You might want to look back at previous journals and see if they're, a couple of weeks ago, did you get everything marked off, or do you kind of need to move things forward? Perhaps you'll frame your 3 goals around one single thing this week. Maybe you're going to do something like a fitness challenge, or maybe something around eating or cleaning habits, self-care, decluttering. So you kind of have those 3 goals based around a theme. And you could also use this space as creating 3 no goals. So maybe no alcohol, or no doom scrolling on the internet, or you're going to limit your social media usage. So there's a little bit of different ways to kind of use those. And then some people will just not worry about the goals, and they'll do things that you'll see on the right, like 3 favorite quotes, or maybe 3 movies or TV shows that they want to watch this week. Or maybe you'll just choose 3 random shows, and then that way you're hitting your spontaneity. 3 ways to welcome spring, almost summer, right? We can change that up. 3 favorite songs of the week that you're going to put on repeat on your playlist. Or maybe you'll try 3 recipes, or maybe create a little mini bingo board there. So there's lots of ways that you can use that 3 major goals. And then this is kind of what those sections look like. And so what I'll do is quit talking and give you some music so that you can work on how you want to feel this week and those 3 major goals. And then I will go back and forth between all those slides. So you can grab those if you saw something that resonated with you. Okay, so we've got our goals set up. I saw somebody say, time to get out the stickers. Yes, those stickers are always like the best kind of cheat to get going. If you'll notice, like on this hold slide right here, we've got in the middle, it says good habits, and they put something for good habit, get it done, a task that needed to happen, and then you can do it, avoid added sugars. So I love being inspired by awesome stickers. So let's go ahead and take a look at our weekly to-dos. That is that fun little list that is over there on the side of your journal. And I actually leave mine blank because I use mine as a to-do list, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But this is the graphic that you're seeing is the Eisenhower matrix, and it is a tool. I actually pulled this from the Silk and Sonder Instagram, so be sure you're checking Instagram out. But it is a very good way of making sure that you are prioritizing the things that need to happen in your life, and make sure you're not spending time on things that other people could do or that you just need to dump and not worry about. So I'm going to show you several slides, and then I'll play some music so we can come back to this. So don't panic that I'm going to move forward. You can see that this is what the Eisenhower matrix looks like. Somebody actually used the do, decide, delegate, delete. I also love the other examples on the slide here because someone was able to do a work section and a home section for the to-do. So dividing those major tasks up depending on where you are for the week. And then the final slide over on, or the image on the bottom right, you can see that that person has done a morning to do and an evening to do list. So that's just a really nice way to kind of divide that up so you're not looking at a ton of things that have to be done. Great ideas for repurposing is to make a to-don't list. Maybe there are some things that you are working on getting rid of in your life, and you could list those things out on a to-don't list. I spoke to the to-do list. I leave that blank. And then things that weren't really on a list, but that I accomplished through the week, I give myself some kudos and I'll jot those down. And that way I feel successful, like I actually got some stuff done. There's also a dread list. Maybe there are a bunch of things that you keep transferring over from week to week, and you put all of those things in one spot, and this is the week they get tackled. And then I love this one on the right. Make a to be list. Talk about settling our souls. What do you want to be this week? And that can tie right into how do you want to feel this week? So those are some great suggestions for that. Now I'm going to show you my big O to-do list. The first notes page of every month, I fill out this big O to-do list, and anything can go on it. And most of it is not time sensitive. It's just things that I need to get done. And then I draw inspiration from that list. So when things pop in my head, I'll jot it down. I'm always looking, for good deals on things. So I have a little procurement side over there for things that we'd like to buy, but I'm going to start pricing out and watching for sales and that kind of thing. But I don't want to forget about any of this. So I dump it all on a master list. And some of this goes off into my weekly to-dos. Some of it just lives here. Some of it will be transferred into July. But that was just a tip I wanted to share with you on what kind of helps me function. So let's tackle our to-do list. All right. I'm glad that some of you guys like the idea of a big old to-do list. It's just, it helps me because I forget. I forget, like, oh, yeah, I wanted to look at getting new washcloths for the guest room, that kind of stuff, and then you're out and about and you're like, now, what was it? So I like that idea. Thank you so much for sharing. I love Debbie said she's going to fill the to-do list in with things that will help her feel positive and energized throughout the week. So being very mindful of claiming your week. I love that. So let's see. Our next section to work on is the habit and activity tracker. And this is one of my favorites and probably the thing I change up the most, because I'm always trying to figure out these new rhythms and routines in this life, what will make me more productive, feel like I'm getting things done. But oftentimes, a lot of folks, especially if you're new, you're like, well, what's the difference between the monthly habit tracker and this weekly habit tracker? And the monthly, I like to look at it, and I think most people do, is that the things you put in that monthly wheel tracker are the things that you want to see happen or aim for every single day. But with the weekly habit tracker, it's things that you might vary the number of times things are happening, or you might even break some of your monthly habits down into some things that could happen in the weekly. So it's maybe less frequent that it's going to occur. Let me show you some examples. And again, another tip is to go back and look at those intentions that you set for this month. And from those intentions, you can draw some of your habits for the week. Now, I like to use a countdown when I do my weekly habits. And so I'll do this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And my goal would be read for 5 days, spend time outside 4 times this week. I like kind of varying those numbers. Now, that's just a suggestion. You don't have to do that. You may set goals for things five times this week, 7 times this week. Maybe you always forget to take out the garbage on garbage day. So that'll be maybe 1 time, but I got to get that garbage. So you've written that down and you know it's going to happen. Also, I love that if you look over in the top right, that person is only going to track 3 habits. And I think that's pretty important to remember too. You do not have to fill in every single line and then make yourself crazy. Your habits are supposed to help you feel successful. So if you only fill out 3 and you do them, you are successful. So don't feel obligated to make sure you've got every line in. Now I tend to do that. I like to to have something there. And then there's different ways of marking these off in the week. And if you'll notice on the bottom right, that person hasn't really assigned a goal, but there are colored dots that will be used when those habits are met. So taking some pressure off of assigning a number, that's a way to approach this habit tracker as well. So let's we'll start thinking about what we want to do. Now I have some ideas here if you're looking to add some things or be inspired, and please share in the chat for any of the habits that you will be tracking this month, or I'm sorry, this week. And if Karen sees some things that might not be on this list, but that are inspiring, she's going to pop those into this slide. So let's work on our habits. All right, we've got our habits in place for the next week. Um, I really want to drive home. Put things in your habit trackers that are attainable. Sometimes we get very lofty with things. I always intend to work out, and I always aim for 5 times, and I very rarely make it, and then I feel really sad about about that. So I lowered the frequency. Like, I can do 3, and I usually nail that, and then I feel better because I actually have a celebration instead of looking at something like, oh man, I didn't do it. So that's just kind of a helpful hint. Karen added a couple of things up there. Thank you for sharing um your habits for the week. I wish I played an instrument. That would be a great thing to add on there to practice. So let's now skip over to our next page, page 33. And this page is so awesome because it offers lots of opportunity for repurposing and really making things work for you in your journal. This is where you're going to find the meal plan and our mind body health plan. And so I have some wonderful suggestions and ideas from our Sonder family that I will share with you. So let's take a look at that meal plan. Now, you can absolutely use this as a meal plan. I use it as kind of an after meal plan. Since my husband and I are empty nesters, we love to cook, but we'll be like looking at things like how old is this? When did we have this spaghetti? And so I will usually, whatever we eat, then I write it in for the day that we ate it. It helps us track so we don't end up with food poisoning. So you can use it for your meals, but there are a million different ways to use this great Monday through Sunday, right, list. And you can see folks slap on those washi tape and those stickers and use it in various ways. We've got a wardrobe tracker over here on the left. That is actually from one of our other facilitators, Katie. She was traveling, and so she was planning her wardrobe. I know when I was working outside of the home, I did track what I wore because I was like in the front of the school all the time. I didn't want people to think she is wearing those same pants again. So I tracked what I wore. I wish I would have had a tool like this. Then there are the meal planner has been turned into a place to reflect on things that you were grateful, that you learned, that you achieved, and delighted. That glad little deal that we like to do. Favorite moments, wins, hard moments, hiccups. So a place for reflection. Oh yes, Amy just said she uses the meal planner for her end of the day reflection. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. 7 types of rest, and I will actually talk a little bit more to that when we're looking at that mind body health plan. And then the one over on the right is a cleaning list for the week. So there's a lot of ways to repurpose. Here's a whole long list. I will scroll back through this when we start working on this. And then I want you to also take a moment to look at your mind body health plan, because it can also be adapted just like the meal plan. So I kind of like to lump these two together. This slide shows several examples from our Sonder fam of how they have set their mind body health plan up for them. This is a little graphic that I found about a self-esteem journal, and then I actually did it last week. And so my responses to these little prompts each day are there on the right. And I really loved how this worked. I changed this little box up almost weekly. So I enjoyed doing that. And then there's also the 7 types of rest. And again, another graphic from our Instagram. And so this is what I did. I did this one a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of where I landed. And I looked at all the things that were coming up in the week. and then chose which kind of rest I wanted to focus on a particular day, depending on what was going on in my life. And so I that's how I set that up. So we will go back and forth. Oh, my Instagram handle, it's actually the Silk and Sonder Instagram page. So if you are not a follower of that, it has wonderful content. So if you do Instagram, go check out Silk and Sonder, so that because they're going to post wonderful, wonderful content. So that's the 7 types of rest. So let me stop talking and I'll scroll back through all these slides. If anything inspired you, grab a snap of it, or work on filling in that space. All right. Yes, that was Chandelier. It's always when you don't hear the words, you're like, I know this song. I know this song. All right. So I hope that you were able to fill out your meal planner and your mind body health plan for the week, or that you've got an idea of what direction you want to go with those in your journal. All right, now we've got that shopping list. That little free space can be used for so many things. So I've got some ideas for repurposing if you wanted to take that space, and you could use it for some really cool quotes. Maybe it's your weekly packing list. I play Wordle, so you could track Wordle there, or have a word of the day. If you're trying to increase your vocabulary, that might be a goal. Put mindfulness activities, routines, cleaning charts. You could even make a little mini bingo board for the week. Maybe something about spontaneity and how you're going to lean into finding spontaneity. So there are some fun ideas for that little shopping list space, unless you use it for a shopping list, which is just fine. And then we are also going to work on that I am loving. And so think about the things that you are loving right now at this moment. Is it the season change, weather? Maybe the kids are home. Maybe you're loving that they're going to be heading to camp. I saw somebody said that their little one was getting ready to start a little summer camp, and hallelujah. So the thing, maybe there's a show, music, a book. So think about what's bringing you joy and fill that in. And I will scroll back to this slide so that you can fill out that shopping list for the week. And we'll play a quick little song while we're working on that and maybe finishing up some of the other lists. And I'll check right back in with you. righty. So a couple of things. Wordle is guessing a word a day. It's a 5-letter word, and you just put a 5-letter word in, and it tells you what letters are right, and you get like, I don't know, 6 chances, I think, to guess the word. It's not an app. It's on the New York Times, and so you don't have to load anything up, but it will track in your browser. But I just do it, kind of try to keep things sharp. So it's fun. I'm addicted. I write it down in my one thing, or under my one thing box where the weather is. I write the wordle of the day. Secondly, Cheryl asked about a mini bingo board. And what I would do in that small space is just, create maybe 9 little spaces. A little grid, and then choose maybe 9 things you're going to do this week, or aim for this week, 3 by 3 boxes. So you want to see the self-esteem girl again. Yes, let's go back really quickly and look at her. You can maybe snap a picture of that. And so really quickly, I'm going to, and I can also put this on the hold screen when we are finished up. I'll come back to that. Let me give you real quick peek into our weekly spread. So that's the Monday through Friday, and then we flip over for our weekend. And I wanted to share these with you so that you could at least kind of get an idea of how to break your days up if you wanted. You can see that there's like to-do list, and then schedule, and then notes. That's how this person set their page up. Here's a couple more examples of how to make those columns under each day work for you. So just some suggestions for that. Since I'm retired, my days are not quite as busy as they used to be. So mine is right down here. This is my week, and I put all my time related things up there at the top, and then I have my little to-do list at the bottom. And then usually at the very bottom, I'll do 1 or 2 word reflection for each day. But I just wanted to have an opportunity to show you those pages. And yes, Karen says, if you'd like to snap a quick photo, feel free to do that. And I can scroll back as we are bumping out of here today. These are the days of the week for this week, and I would encourage you to maybe find 1 or 2 things that resonate with you that could help you lean into being spontaneous this week. So for example, tomorrow is National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. Maybe a little semi-scheduled ice cream date in your Tuesday would lead you to be a little spontaneous. So all you have to do is Google National Days of the Week, and you will get some great lists for that. So without any further ado, here's a cute one that you might want to also do. I forgot I threw this one in. This really leaned into spontaneity for me. Visiting new places, maybe you'll just bake a cake just because. Watch the sunset, start a journal. We're already doing that. Maybe go for a walk or help someone. And I thought a 7-day happiness put into your weekly spread could help you kind of lean into the spontaneity. So we are coming to the end of our time together. Thank you so much for hanging with us. These 3 QR codes, we've got the survey there at the top. You can download Sonder Club down there on the bottom left if you're not already part of that. We'd love to see your weekly setup in Sonder Club. And then that all important right-hand corner there at the bottom is our YouTube link for the social recordings. And so give us two business days is usually what it takes to get those things up. Just be aware that the chat is not rendered into the video. I am glad you joined us, everybody, whether you were here on time or woke up a little bit late. We've started the day with the best people I know, and I'm so glad that we are going to have a wonderful week. I am going to put on our bump out song and I'll scroll back through a couple of those slides. I know it was a lot of content. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you next time.